Okay, I've been wanting to make this video for a while. It's on what love actually is. And what I've noticed, like, recently in the last, decade or whatever, even, I don't know, maybe in the last, 20 years, since, 2000 or something, people, they don't know what love is. Like, younger people, they don't know what love is because of the spread of evolution by communism and socialism. So, people, they don't know anything about, metaphysics and, philosophy, because, whenever you reject religion, if you reject, the Catholic Church especially, then you don't have metaphysics and philosophy, so there's a void. So I've noticed a lot of people, there's their relationships are terrible. People, they don't know what marriage is or anything like that, so they don't know what love is. So this video is on what love is. So the most simple definition of what love is self-giving. Okay, it's self-giving, and then the opposite is using others, and the thing that's in between those is indifference, because love is an act of the will, and then using is an act of the will, but indifference is to do nothing at all. So to understand love better, think of a child. You give the works of your hands, you give your wages, you give your time, you give your intellect, you give your emotions, you give your knowledge and wisdom, you give your flesh and blood, even. Everything that you are, you give. So that's a good understanding of this self-giving, this love. Now, what happens in relationships today, since people, they don't understand love, is they confuse loving and using. And then they love what they get from the other when they go into a relationship. And what happens is, when sacrifice comes along, it drives them apart. But think of the child analogy I just gave. When a parent sacrifices for their child, their bond of love becomes stronger and stronger because they had the sacrifice. Now, in a relationship, people who are willing to sacrifice for one another, their bond of love grows stronger and stronger. But the people that love what they get from the other, or just there to use the other person, whenever sacrifices come along, it drives them apart. It does the exact opposite. So that's what love is. Now, an important part is the virtues. The virtues are strengths, they're inner strengths, and they're sacrifices in a relationship. So if you're patient, or temperance is a virtue. A person that loses their temper, they don't have that inner control. See, the word sin in Hebrew means miss the mark. It's an archery term, but it means miss the mark, and all the virtues are the mark. And in Latin, virtue, the root word vir, it literally means man. So virtues are manly inner strengths. So a strong person has virtues, and because they're sacrifices. So in a relationship, what people do who use each other, they expect the other person to be perfect. It's like idolatry. They're expecting the other person to give them everything that they want. you know, they're expecting them to be perfect. And when the people don't give them what they want, you know, because they're there to use the person, when they don't get what they want, they subtract from this perfection. You know, they expect the person to be God, or they idolize them. That's what idolatry is. It's like, it's a false worship of a false God. So like, they turn the person that they're using into like a false God because they love what they get from them. But then when they don't get what they want from them, you know, it's an annoyance. You know, so as the years go by, they're like, oh, well, you don't do this and you don't do that and you didn't do this. And, you know, all these annoyances add up, and this, you know, unwilling to love, you know, it just builds up, and they build up a hatred for the other person. And, you know, people who use each other, they sacrifice drives them apart. But people who love each other, sacrifice makes their bond stronger and stronger. So, I don't know, that's basically what love is. And I hope this helped somebody out there. And thanks for watching.